I don't want you to miss the amount of the budget for pencils probably went down because you've switched from
Well, yeah, exactly. Like I didn't
a
even think
manual
of it.
to a digital solution. So pencil, I don't know if the KPI, that'd be actually funny actually to do pencils saved per form completed.
Yeah.
What's the price of a pencil and extrapolate that down the line.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds silly, but what I'm already thinking, what I'm seeing in front of me is a case study where you just have a very cool visual of a stack of pencils. I mean, that's an excellent way to have a recruiter smile while reading your case study.
You're officially live.
We are officially live, exactly. I mean, this is just an experiment.
So we've gone around two of them. So there's make money, save money. I'm very curious. What is the third one on the list?
Yeah, well, third one is where, funny enough, we're going away from money, but we're also going to stay with money. And the third one is to save time, which is perhaps bringing us closer to the big changes we're seeing in today's world with AI, and all the impact that it's making, because doing things faster means, again, like you can do more. I think it's somewhat closely related to what you just said about having people focus on the right things, because the silly things are not relevant anymore. Well, in this case, it's you being able to do the silly things faster. Means there's more time left over to focus on the non-silly things. In practice, thinking about a few of my projects, it's about replacing a paper form with a digital form. The very, very first project that I did fresh out of school in 2015 was for a construction company. If let's say you're a crane operator, you wear these very big, clunky, like protective constructor gloves, big fingers because of it. And then you drop something, something breaks and you have to fill in a form to get a replacement for a lamp or a tool or a helmet or something you need on the job. You get to get off your crane, lose the gloves, and then you're sweaty and you want to keep working, but then you have to fill in a paper form. You have to bring it to someone. They have to understand your handwriting. They have to put it in a computer, and I can keep going and going and going. And this is a real life example. It really happened. It takes forever, and it's just annoying. The user in this case, the guy filling out the paper form, just wants to have that replacement tool so they can continue their work. It's very annoying. And then the back office employee has to read, handwritten notes full of mud and scratches and all that stuff. It's because it's from a construction site. Like there's going to be dirt on it. It's just annoying. Nobody here is a winner. Nobody wants to do it. They all want it to be just, I want to just continue my work, or I want to not have to deal with stacks of paper that get lost. Doing that digitally in an easy way is just way faster. You will have your replacement tool faster. When you're the back office employee, you have something you can read. It's less annoying. You're faster. So happy users. And then for the construction company, it means less delay. There's way less operators or construction workers waiting on a tool to arrive. So being able to say, I designed this app, and because of it, the time to replacement of a broken tool went from 3 weeks to 3 days. I think that's a very strong case study. And I'm sure you have, as Mr. ROI, Mr. Adoption, I think you have something specific around how to phrase it into a case study. From 3 weeks to 3 days means ... And I'll let you take it from there.
No, exactly. And plus, I don't want you to miss the amount of the budget for pencils probably went down because you've switched from
exactly. Like I didn't
a
even
manual
think of it.
to a digital solution. So pencil, I don't know if the KPI, that'd be actually funny actually to do pencils saved per form completed.
Yeah.
What's the price of a pencil and extrapolate that down the line?
Yeah. I mean, it sounds silly, but what I'm already thinking, what I'm seeing in front of me is a case study where you just have a very cool visual of a stack of pencils. I mean, that's an excellent way to have a recruiter smile while reading your case study, and that puts you on top of the stack of designer resumes for sure. So anyway, continue, please.
Yes. Outside of the amazing hook that would be for your case study.
Yes.
I think if you're looking at, like in your example, like time saved. So like calculate the time it takes for someone to manually, it's basically a before and after metric. What is the time it takes for someone to manually fill out that form? And then add to that, in your example, the time it takes to decipher said terrible handwriting and then transcribe it into the next medium, which I imagine is going to be into their system. So like calculate that is the total time it takes to complete the time currently versus your solution of having a digital experience first, which imagine, like, so for example, it takes a total of, per form filled out today, it takes about like 25 to 30 minutes total versus 1 minute with your solution. So that's time saved. That's like a 90% reduction in time executed. And then if you wanted to like value stack, like what is the salaries that you save to do that task? So the construction worker gets paid whatever, $18 an hour. The back office person gets paid $22 an hour. That 30-minute task equates to whatever. And they do that about like 15 times a day. Do the math there. That's the sunken cost. And then you've essentially reduced that cost down to a minute per task.
Yeah. The interesting thing that I'm thinking about now, after listening to you, is that out of the 4 reasons that we're talking about, there's usually a sort of A happens and then B happens. Like it's a combination of the two. So you're talking about time saved, and saving that time means also that there's money saved. That's the second reason. Or in another way, you can also say because of the construction worker having their replacement tools sooner means they save time. They can complete a job quicker, meaning that the company can do more jobs in the same period of time, making more money. So maybe that's the two, like the combination there. Maybe it's not just one reason. Thinking out loud, it's always one reason.
And that's valuable in a case study. Like in the end, like you generally want to lead, like in your H1, or like the purpose of your case study is that you hit this metric KPI. But because, like, to your point, it bleeds into the rest. Like you'd ideally, as a designer, want to have 2 to 3 or 4 KPIs as like, here's the value to the business, but you're leading with that one. But because they oftentimes bleed into one another, you have this value wall of like, here's my impact. I've hit this. I have time saved, save money, make money, etc. So it's not just the one.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. So just to make it very practical, if you were going to write a case study, I always start with 1 paragraph as a role I did thing, with the result being result. That result usually evolves around one of those 4 reasons, but it doesn't mean that you cannot mention any of the other reasons. It's just to make it clear and not overwhelming. You just highlight one thing in your H1 and in your intro.
Yeah.
Just to make it easier to understand.
Yeah, exactly. So again, like just to add on to what you're saying, it's like this case study is around, we saved the money. We saved this business X amount of dollars. And then as you go through your process, you hit them again with, we didn't just save money. We also made the money. Then we saved time. And then you have now this value stack at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, one of the case studies that I'm going to write at some point is in 2025. One of the projects I was involved with, they went from 800,000 ARR to 1.3 million ARR. And, me being a team member there, means that I'm part of that success.
Yeah.
not the only part, because we're in a team of like 10 people and we all have impact in a different way. But I already have my case study collected from the founder telling, writing about how they are very happy with my impact and that it's a clear and obvious impact from start to finish, from big flows until little details. So I have those two already, and I'm going to, quite clearly focus on the first reason, the make money reason, from the previous episode. Because they went from 0.8 million to 1.3 million. It's a very clear improvement. And then the case study will just be built upon before after visuals. Like, here's the onboarding flow 2024, here's the onboarding flow end of 2025, and it's different in these key areas because of these key reasons, and we've seen this and this happen. So that's what I would probably do, and something I will write about in due time when I get to it.
Yeah, the save time, one is really powerful.
It's my favorite, basically, out of the four. I really enjoy these strategic games where you have city builders and that kind of stuff, and when you can make something happen quite a little bit quicker, you just see your game become better. Like, that really motivates me. So yeah, not sure if you have a favorite. I'm not sure if it's even important, but I enjoy the third one.
I probably have, I have a favorite one that that is a save time one as well. Like I jumped on a company, launched one of their product lines from 0 to 1. And it was essentially a time saving thing. So it's basically a software that allows you to do comparisons in like the print worlds. If you're creating packaging or you're creating a label for a particular product, like you're basically going through iterations of that file. So you're first creating copy for this ad, and then you're actually doing the visuals for it. This software was basically comparing each iteration and making sure that nothing went missing or finding errors in between. And what we were benchmarking, where we were competing against, was actually people manually doing that comparison from like one file to the next. So imagine two people sitting down at a desk with their finger going through from the top to the bottom, reciting word for word and making sure that the second iteration matches the text from the first. So in my case study specifically, it was going from a task that you took a couple hours, maybe half a day, depending on like the document's length. Like, it could be a 40-page document, to 10 minutes.
Right.
Via the software that can just it goes, like, upload 2 files, let me catch the differences. Here's the output report. Go back, send it back to the graphic designer. They will fix all the mistakes. The time saving is clear. And then, to your example, it also bleeds into, like, it makes money, well, for the business, but it also saves money for the client.
Yeah. I think it's very cool. I like that we both put in some real case studies that we're working on or have worked on, to make it even more real life. Really, the end of your sentence really stuck with me the most, while I was already thinking about something else to say, but is that all these reasons can be seen from either the business or the user. You can, a business helping a user to save money, make money, will probably help the business do something similar. So that's something to keep in mind too, I would say. Like, who are you, like, the reason, who does it apply to?
Yeah, and when you're thinking about like those metrics, like, it's good to have like that visibility. Like, it can affect the business or the persona or the customer that you're like. There's metrics around like all of it. You can pick which one has the most impact. So if you've only increased the business a little bit, but the major impact is on the client, you can probably lean into the client's KPIs more, because it's more shiny, I guess, to the hiring manager that's reading your case study.
Yeah, true. I mean, it's about the cards you have, and making sure you play the right one, while also remembering that sometimes, what the hiring manager is looking for is someone who can do one of those things. They probably aren't aware of it, but they already know, like, oh man, we're really struggling with this manual operations thing. It's really slowing us down. And then if you have a case study about helping someone make more money because of something shiny, like sure, your case study is great, but it's not what they are looking for. Doesn't mean you
Right.
should change your case study, but it's just good to be aware that different hiring managers look for different things, and you cannot be the thing for everyone. You cannot be the
Yeah.
perfect designer. So strong reason to have more than one case study, I would say. There's one more, which I think is the most challenging one.
Drum roll.
And drum roll, there we go. Dramatic pause. It's reduced to reduce risk.
Okay.
And so that makes me think about a health care, medical type thing, or personal data projects right away, where you just want to prevent a lawsuit from happening or prevent damage to the brand from happening.
Yep.
But I don't have anything super specific right now, but I'm sure we'll get to it.
Yeah, I have an example. In that same example that I was talking about, where the main KPI I put forward was saving time. Part of that, because the industry or the vertical that we were working in was in pharmaceuticals, compliance is a big thing. So
Right.
imagine when you're creating packaging for like an Advil, Tylenol, like one of those big brands, what there are compliance checks that are being done. One of the things is do you have in your label a warning label? Like, are there directions? Are there specific milligrams? Are they in a specific format for the country that you're delivering it to? So part of that was part of not just checking, is this version have the same content as this one? Are all the necessary items included in said version?
Right.
And then what that ladders up to is that if you've probably done it as well, done some packaging design. Like if your product goes out and is being shipped to your client, at the border, there is a check. They're going to check your packaging, check your things. Does it have the correct elements within your packaging? If not, they'll hold your product. And that's going to cost the company in reprints. You'll have to, that batch or that crate is going to be thrown in the trash, and you'll have to go back again, correct the mistake, reprint, and do it again. Like that, the software that I built mitigates that risk.
Right. The fun thing is that even though I thought this one to be in my gut, like super obvious, like, yeah, sure, it's to prevent a lawsuit, it was also the most challenging one to make specific for me to have an example. But now listening to you, I also think it's perhaps the most powerful one out of the four, because it has so much impact. Like by preventing the errors that you're saying, you are reducing risk. You're also saving time, and because there's no need for a reprint. You're saving money because you do not have to reprint, so time is money. And you're also helping them, perhaps this is a bit of a stretch, but you're also helping them make money because the thing they're selling is, in the stores quicker.
Yes.
Although that might be a stretch, as I said. So yeah, I think that's a really interesting one. Okay, yeah. So I think it's very interesting. That final one, the fourth one, it impacts so much, and it really shows you the power of branding. First of all, like the good name you want to keep, but also the impact that regulations and constraints have on anything you work on, which is perhaps a full episode of itself. The learning to work with constraints. But
I think I might want to wedge in one final one, and I think this one will be. I think
drum rolls,
we've gone through some really powerful drum roll, please. I think one thing that I still think is valuable and the differentiator for designers is that design is the brand differentiator. There is a bunch of like AI slop in the market. Also, what value we bring, like first principles, what designers do is design. Having that hard skill really separates your product or service from the market.
Yeah, that's true. I think what we're doing by default, by nature, and that's how we learn, is to mimic people. Just anyone listening with a small kid at home, just knows how it goes. Like at some point, you just see yourself in your child, and you're like, and then you're either happy or sad, depending on what it's doing. I think that happens on the job as well. You look up to that famous designer, if it's Johnny Ive from Apple or a product designer or a UX designer, and you just to learn. I think you that's a bit of advice you always give. Like, you just copy first and then make it your own.
Yeah. Yeah.
The downside of it is that you have, it all ends up in the middle somewhere, So yeah, just a long answer to basically say what you're saying. Like if you can break from that middle,
Yes.
not everyone will like you, but there will be people who like you very much and are willing to pay you, above average just to do more of that thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, big differentiator for sure.
Well, because it also bleeds into the 4 points. Like, how does it make you money? Because you've done a rebrand or you've structured the brand in the correct way, it increases conversion because they like the packaging that you've kind of wrapped the brand in. So that goes from like the ad to the landing page to the product itself. It's like that design touch is something that's felt from the customer.
Yeah.
That bleeds into these other KPIs that we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. So maybe if you're really a big shot designer, maybe one of the reasons to hire you is you. Like they just want to work with you because of who you are, what you've done before. Like it's almost like you look at like some sort of event like the Oscars or the Grammys or whatever, and then it's like, oh, that person, he's wearing a suit by that designer or a dress by that fashion house or whatever. Like then the reason is the famous big name. Although that might be just something for like the top 1% or the top 0.1% of designers. Like I'm not there at all. Like the best thing I get closest to it is word of mouth. Like someone recommends me, but then you still would need to have the case studies to bring home that lead. Yeah.
I think a good example of that is the designer who did the branding for Lovable. This person he's in great. No short. He is amazing.
Yeah.
He is now like, that is his funnel. Like more great work gets you more great work.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he does, these brand sprints of 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right. And then only one, like you get full focus from him for 2 weeks and then you have a thing. But the fun thing is that you can really see his hand in the design. Like you can really see if you put everything next to each other, you can really see that he did it for all of them.
Yeah.
And that's not meant in a bad way. It's more like you see his signature. And I think that really reinforces the thing I just said. Like if you can go away from the middle, that's going to be really useful for you because people will copy him and then he has to do something better just because, at some point it gets old. So yeah, lots of respect for him. I think we can all learn from him quite a bit. Well, I forgot his name. I think he's also called Nick, right?
It could be.
Anyway, that doesn't matter. Not important. Yeah. So that's perhaps the fifth reason, the big name, being a well-known person. Yeah. Any bonus reasons? Anything else? A sixth one, or should this be more than enough for people to revisit their case studies one more time, the final time?
Yeah, I think the last quick thing I'll say, we don't have to delve into this one, but I think what gets a really powerful reason, what gets a designer hired today is ownership. And what I mean by that is owning the deliverable from end to end. So not just being a cog in the hot potato game, but like owning the vision for a feature and then executing it out the door into production and then following up. Not just doing if you're just doing the UX phase or just doing the UI polish, or you're just doing the strategy, like doing the end to end. I think that's really powerful.
Yeah, I think so. Agency. And the designer is called Nick Pattison, by the way, because I felt a bit silly for not just leaving all of you hanging and ourselves hanging there. That being said, what you just mentioned, I have a new project, and he started complaining to me about the whole finding a designer process. posted online, got 100 plus replies. And then he said to me, literally, like, you're the 5th designer I'm talking to. Please convince me that you're not like the other 4. And then he started complaining about, big words, long answers, claiming a lot, but then while working, not being able to do what you say, like, I'm going to work on this today, and then not getting a reply back until 2 days later, like that kind of stuff. I felt like that relates to what you're saying. Like, if you say you do something, do it. Have that agency, do the thing A to Z, like follow through, and that little bit of extra drive is really helpful. And not sure if that's something you can put in your case studies, but it could be a reason to hire you if you're that type of person.
Yeah. Maybe not a case study item, but a really powerful one. Like doing what you say and delivering it when you say you're going to deliver it. Your leaps and bounds, like maybe you're at the top 10%, just doing that one thing.
Yeah, I think so. One thing to mention in the end is that, lots of input here, right? Lots of reasons to rethink your case study. And if you're like, well, I've rewritten my case study now, but I'm stuck. We did a help episode a while back. Let us know. More than happy to do another one of those episodes. By the time this video goes out, hopefully we have our form, a landing page ready for people to submit their questions and that kind of stuff. At least it's going to give me a kick on my behind to make that happen before this video launches. So
if it's not done, reach out to Nick personally.
Yeah. Yes, please do. Please, all of you do. So we're helping, I'm helping myself and then helping you. So this is a deadline I'm putting on myself. But the message is, we're here to help. I think the design community could use a bit more of that. And with all the fighting that sometimes happens. More on that later, I guess. All right.
That was a great episode. So if you like this content and want to hear more, please like and subscribe.
Yeah. And if you want to see more, please go to designtablepodcast.com, Spotify, Apple Music, all the big players and more.